Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I am so excited to be coming to you today from the back porch of the Lawn Care Life, the infamous Jason Creel. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. This is second time on the show. It was a while. It was probably last year or maybe it might have been 2021 when we had you on last.
Yeah, I remember doing it. I don't remember what we talked about, but I do.
Yeah, I don't either. You do. I think this is 250, 260, something like coming up on 300 episodes. I do not remember. Paul's about to hit 1,000 episodes on his podcast. Like, that's crazy.
How many times are you podcast per week?
3 a week. Yeah.
Okay.
So they add up quickly.
I know you do the Monday marriage thing. What else do you do?
Marriage Monday on Monday, and then Wednesday, Friday just is a mix of solo shows and just solo shows and then guest interviews. So talking all things business. And we actually need to get you and Tracy on. We need to do a Marriage Monday.
Oh, yeah. We know a lot about marriage.
Yeah, and, I mean, y'all have got 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a lot. I mean, for somebody that didn't listen to the last episode with you, let's go into it. Let's just hop right in. No, we're just going to cut straight to the meat. No potatoes today, just straight to the meat. So what is the Lawn Care Life? What is Alabama Lawn Pros? What are the Creels? Who are the Creels?
So I'm Jason. I live in the same town as Jeremiah, outside of Birmingham, and my wife is Tracy. We have 4 kids, and I started my first lawn business in 2007, I believe. I might not have started doing any work until 2008, but I named something in 2007. Anyway, so I'm now on my 3rd lawn business, which is Alabama Lawn Pros. The first 2, I was mowing grass. The 3rd one, I'm spraying weeds, weed control and fertilization. And then about 12 years ago, I started mostly making YouTube videos for the intent of trying to help my own business rank on the internet. I had a friend that was doing real estate, and he had a camera. He said, Jason, I get about 95% of my leads on the internet doing real estate, and he's selling lake property. And he said, you need to start doing videos for your lawn care business. So he let me borrow his camera. I still remember it. I got his camera, a tripod set up in my backyard, and I still go back and look at some of those original videos. They were pretty bad, but I would just sit there and just, they were about like a 2 or 3 minute video, and I talk, but not that many people was on YouTube at that time, and specifically in the lawn care space, there were somebody. I wasn't the only one on there, but wasn't a lot of competition, and I just stuck with it for a while. Now I guess I'm 12 years into being on YouTube. So.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. So, well, let's go back into the business world then. When did you and Tracy get married? What does family life look like for you?
I got married in 2009, so I had my lawn biz for basically a year and a half by the time we got married. So before that, I had like 15 jobs. I don't think that's an exaggeration. They were
really
pretty much all bad. I don't think I ever had a good job. And I graduated college and all that, but I just didn't have a lot of motivation, so that was part of the problem. And then I wasn't skilled at knowing how to attract a good job. I think also it's kind of like early signs of my entrepreneurial spirit. I just was not a good fit in the workplace. I would work hard. I wasn't lazy. I'd show up, work hard, but I guess I'm just entrepreneurial.
Do you think back to college at all? Can you think of any specific times where you were in college and you didn't realize it then, but looking back on it now, you were like, hey, maybe that was you didn't like class or something like that, and you're like, maybe that was my entrepreneurial spirit?
I think a couple things come to mind. One, I feel like growing up, I would see that most adults that I knew seemed like they worked 40 hours a week and they had just enough money to get by on. And it didn't matter if they made $10 an hour or $100 an hour. You just worked all week. You lived for the weekend, and you spent basically all your money and you worried about your bills. Maybe that's just people I was around. But I
think that's common.
And I remember thinking, like, well, what if there's a better way? Like, what if you could work more hours and make more money, or less hours and make more money? I mean, like, was there something magical about 40 hours a week? And as I'm older, I think 40 is actually a pretty decent number, because you can go over that, or you can, be lazy and be a terrible entrepreneur and not work and go out of business. So there is some balance to life. You can just work all the time and neglect your family, which is not good either. So I remember thinking that. And then I remember in college, as you get a little bit further along, I'm thinking, I guess I'm supposed to do something after I graduate. And I always did fine in school, but I really wasn't interested in anything I was studying. I got a degree in some type of computer stuff, but it's so outdated, it's honestly not very helpful, to be honest with you. But I remember sitting there thinking, I either wanted to like join the military or be a missionary or start a business. I wanted to do something. I didn't want to just go get a job and sit at a desk for 40 hours a week. I
Something
wanted to
different.
Had like a bigger mission behind it, and so entrepreneurship was starting a business was what I came up with, and that was several years after college, where I'd worked all these terrible jobs, and I started mowing grass, not because I had tons of experience doing that, but I thought, well, I could do that. And I actually had a close friend. Him and his wife came to me when I started, and they gave me $8,000, which is not $1 million, but at the time it basically seemed like it, to start my business. And they had no confidence, no idea necessarily that I was going to be a success or a failure, but that $8,000 to somebody who that was more than my life savings, I'm pretty sure at that time. I was able to buy, I had a Ford Ranger I'd had for 11 years. I sold it. I went and bought an F-150 truck for like $4,100. Trucks were cheaper then, but it was just a basic V6 white work truck with vinyl seats and all that. And so I bought that. I bought a trailer, and I bought the first zero turn. The first one I really used much was a Hustler Mini Z, 44-inch. And I got it had like 200-something hours on it, so I paid like $3,400 or something for that. Anyway, so I made that $800 go a little ways. I think I even bought a used trimmer and stuff, which was not a good idea, but it got me going, And then within that first year, I remember I landed this neighborhood entranceway. I was living in Montgomery at the time, and they paid me a little over $1,000 a month to maintain this entranceway. And I mean, still today, I'd be thrilled to have that entranceway, because it was not big. Now, I had to sub out the spray into a company. We had to do kind of the flowers and stuff like that. But it was very little. I could go there by myself and cut it probably in an hour and a half. And then the developer in that neighborhood had about 20 vacant houses. And these are these little bitty houses all side by side. Or maybe a few houses sold in between them, but based on the same street, you'd have like 12 houses that hadn't sold. He wanted me to just go cut all those, and no edging. He said just cut and weed it around those little house. I was charging him $20, which I know is ridiculous.
Wow, yeah.
But I mean, I would get that Hustler Mini Z. I would get in the backyard, and I would just go down 6 houses at one time, running through the backyards. And so mowing that entranceway and then doing those 20 houses. I was like, I am making more in one day than I think I ever have in a week's work with my paycheck at these other jobs. So I was kind of at the beginning, I was living real cheap then, but I thought, this is great.
This is the life.
Yeah,
I've made it.
And I wasn't making much money. I'll be honest. Looking back, I was not making much money. But compared to what I was used to, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, there's so much that can be said out of that. Just the journey, just the confidence. I mean, did you approach those people about getting the $8,000, or did they just come to you and were like, here, I'm willing to help you out? What did that, I mean, was it a loan? Did you pay back? How did that work?
No, it was actually a gift. So
That's awesome.
They approached me, and so that.
Did they know you were looking to start your business?
Yeah, they knew I was going to start a business, and
okay.
they were like, had a real immaculate yard, and
yeah.
not only did they give me $8,000, they let me take over their yard, which was kind of
paid you?
Yeah,
I mean, you paid them.
No,
they paid you.
They paid me.
You charged them. Yes,
they let me be their customer, which was kind of good because they had a really nice yard and real influential people. So that was probably good for marketing too. But basically, probably knew that he might not do as good a job as whoever we're about to fire.
They were just giving you a chance.
Yeah, they gave me a chance. The next year, I had an opportunity to buy out this guy. He was selling. He had 4 mowers for sale, I believe. A big, some kind of big Ferris 60-inch mower. He had a Walker mower or something. He told me if I would buy 2 of the mowers, then he would give me his customers. Now, I don't know how many customers he had. I don't know if he was telling the truth. He said he was going to dental school. I don't really believe him on that. But he did take me around, and I got about 25 customers. So I bought those 2 mowers. So I went back to the same family. I borrowed $8,000 that time, and I did pay it back, that second $8,000. And I bought those 2 mowers. He gave me some really good commercial accounts, and that lasted for a while. And then I ended up keeping the Walker mower. I sold the other mower. And so I had a Walker then, and I think I still had that Hustler, and was just out there, and and I was off and running at that point. I had enough to get me going and start hiring people and all that.
What was the name of it? The name of the company?
The name of the company?
Yeah.
Sold.
No, the name of your company.
Oh,
what did you
my
name?
company was called Blue Chip Lawns, and I don't know where I came up with that. I was thinking like a blue chip stock or like a blue chip prospect, or that was an old movie that had Shaq in it. It was called Blue Chips or something a long time ago. Penny Hardaway and all those. But my friend was a marketer, and he thought it was the greatest name ever. He's like, you're blue and everybody else is green. This is ingenious marketing. And my logo was like a silhouette of a guy in a suit holding a weed eater. And I liked it, and it went well for a while. And back then, there wasn't as much SEO and all that. So we lived in a military town. These military families would move in the summer, and I would take postcards, and I just walk around the neighborhoods and just putting postcards out all the time. So it grew pretty well, and I sold that business 5 years into it. Somebody approached me about buying it, so I sold it. I took a full-time job with my computer degree, and that was terrible. That was so terrible. And then so I kept a portion of my business and started my second business, which was called Pike Road Lawns, but I was real limited on my geography because of a non-compete. And then we moved 2 years later, so I started my third business.
I didn't know that. So your first business you sold, you went back into being an employee. You got out.
I had already, while I was still owning that business, I took a full-time job.
Oh, okay. So is that why you sold?
Well, it made it easier, because I had a full-time job. I had a crew that was sort of running it. I might get out there and help them some.
Yeah.
That was going okay, not great. And then somebody approached me about buying it, so I sold it. I kept this one little town, the yards in this one little town, maybe 20 yards or something. So after I sold it, not long after that, I quit that job because it was terrible. And then I went and worked in that little town mowing 20 yards, but I couldn't expand. I mean, I say little, I mean tiny town. There was very little room to grow. I tried to start a coupon book fundraising company.
No, I do remember you telling me that.
And so a lot of the money I got from selling the business, we not only bought a house, which actually turned out to be a good thing. It was a foreclosure. We made some money when we sold it later. But it's how between the house and my coupon book failure, I basically lost the money I'd sold it for. Looking back, if I'd have just bought stock in Amazon or something, would have been so much better. But lesson learned. And then, like I said, we stayed there for 2 more years. Then we relocated where we live now, 2 hours away. So I couldn't keep it. So I just sold the rest of my business. I had bought new equipment, all that. I sold all the rest of the equipment, the rest of my customers, to another person, and relocated here and started Alabama Lawn Pros. And then that's when I kind of got into the weed control as well.
Did you do mowing here, or were you weed control from the get-go?
Yeah, my first 2, maybe 3 years I was mowing. The first year I was mowing, spraying, and washing dishes on the weekends.
You were doing everything.
I mean, I was literally washing dishes on the weekend. My in-laws have a wedding video, and did do it a lot, but I mean, you just got to make it. I moved here, basically blown the money I'd sold my business for. I still had a little bit of that coming in, and I had 0 customers and 3 kids and a 4th kid coming soon. So, I mean, I was literally knocking on doors trying to get customers. I don't do that as much anymore, but I had a genuine fear of failure, and so I got out there and started mowing. I picked up maybe 20 mowing yards, and maybe the first year I got about 100 customers on my third business, and so that was helpful. It's not really enough. 100 mowing is fine, but 100 spraying, I probably had 80 spraying and 20 mowing.
Yeah.
The next year I kept mowing, and I picked up maybe another 100, so I was up to about 200. That's still not enough to fill up your schedule, even mowing some. And the first year I was actually mowing grass with a friend of mine too, on 1 or 2 days a week. And then the third year, I think I did transition out of the mowing. I gave my customers to a guy that was starting up. He's still in business now in Springville. And I just gave them to him in exchange for him to cut my own grass for a year. So he just cut my...
Who was that? Was that Scott?
Scott Morgan.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
I gave him my customers. He cut my grass for a year.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember him telling me that.
Yeah, and then I quit mowing. So I got to about 300 spraying that year. And then I, kept growing from there, and then eventually downsized back to solo again. So a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot of up, a lot of down, a lot of everything in between there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a crazy story. We have to have you and Tracy on for Marriage Monday because there's so much that I want to get into on like that side of things. Yeah. Today, I guess we'll stick to the business side. I mean, what have you learned going from like small to a little bit bigger, back to small again? You were knocking on doors. Spring rush is going on right now where we are. Pretty much everybody's in spring rush by this time if you're listening live. But still, man, I've seen guys right now that, have you seen it's like 30 degrees, 25, 30 degrees, and they're mowing?
Well, I've seen the, I don't remember if it was football games or baseball or something, and they're out there in the snow and stuff, so it's crazy.
No, I'm happy where we are. So anyway, we're full force spring rush right now. But there's guys that are starting their businesses and they don't know how to get clients. They're still figuring that out. And they might be listening to the show and they're in year 1, year 2, year 3. And I actually know there's guys here local to us that have reached out and said, hey, we're starting the business this year. How can we get customers? That is probably the number one question for somebody in their first year, I would say, is how do you get new customers? For you have gone through the process of knocking on doors. Have you ever done, like, I'm sure you've done EDDM, every door direct mail marketing, things like that
too.
So what does that look like for you? Because like you said, with weed control and fertilization, like mowing, you can have 60, 70, 80 clients, and you can be making some pretty good money if they're a little bit bigger yards. But you have to triple that, quadruple that. You have to have 400 or 500 just for a solo guy, much less have people with you. So what does that process look like as far as building a customer list, getting the customers you want? I mean, because you've done it multiple times now.
Yeah.
You've built it for 3 different businesses. So what did that process look like? And what advice would you give to somebody who's trying to do it right now?
Yeah. So I think you're right. People in the first, maybe second year, they're always worried about getting customers. After that, it becomes more about managing what you got and trying to increase profitability and all that. But for those that first year, I mean, I tell people, well, I can tell you what I've done, and I tell you what I tell people now. Yeah, I've done EDDM, every door direct mail. I did not have a good experience with that. Most any direct mail I've done has not been very successful.
Really? Okay.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. I know these big companies do it, but I actually saw a stat today that this guy sent out 70-something thousand flyers. He said he got 0.4% return, and he thought that was an unbelievable success. Like at 0.4. So when people think, "Oh, I'm going to get 3%," that's I don't even think it's unrealistic. So I mean, literally, he said you get like 0.25%. That's not bad, honestly. So, I mean. And his cost per customer was $100-something per customer, which is not terrible. But I'm saying a lot of people that start out,
they have $40 mows, $40 mows, then like
people that start out don't always have very much money. So I mean, I do think you should get a website if you can't afford that. I mean, if you're going to be long term, I say definitely get a website. I don't know if anything I've got more customers from than website leads. I get them almost every day, at least during the spring. Most of them I don't want, but they call me all the time. The other thing, and I understand there's some cost to that, so look at that more as long term.
But there are free people out there, I can't think of the word. I say free websites, free designers, free programs. Yeah. Especially now with this all AI stuff. I know there's a company called Trady that does free websites. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're any quality, but I know that's the thing. Like you can at least get your presence out there, even if it doesn't look like amazing. Yeah. It's free. Like, put something out there to get your name out there.
Or get something cheap. I mean, I use a site called Upwork where you hire these freelancers.
Hire somebody to build it.
Get somebody that builds it. So, even if you don't want to do that, I mean, to me, at least get a Facebook page and start with, I would go ahead and get the social media handles, not because you're trying to be an influencer, but just it does help your business. Yep. You can start, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that. It's not hard to do. And just to have a presence to try to one day rank on Google, which is kind of the kingpin, I guess, out there. Other than that, what I would do when I moved here, I went on Facebook. I don't know if this is like some unbelievable trade secret, but it's what I did. I would go on Facebook, and I would go in our local town has like a Facebook group.
Yeah.
I guess almost any town has one, and all the local towns. And I would go in there and search within the group, and I would just type in the word lawn, LAWN.
Do you have the confidence to bid for and land commercial contracts? Hey friends, it's Marty, and at LaunchpreneurAcademy.com, we want to help you unlock the opportunity to capture more commercial work. Brian has a training program that not only provides you access to the lawn care, landscaping, commercial contract that he uses in his biz, but you're also going to get access to an explainer video where he shows you exactly how to use this contract and help you earn more from area businesses and companies. Now is the time of the year to lock in commercial work, and this contracting strategy will help you do just that. Open up the doors to unlimited possibility with your lawn and landscaping business and approach commercial work with confidence with this extremely affordable commercial contract. Download it today for just $49 at the Launchpreneur Academy. A quick link is in the show notes.
And you know what happens when you do that? Everybody comes up and says, I'm looking for somebody to mow my lawn. Who do you recommend to mow your lawn? All these people on there commenting. And when you got 74 comments below there, and it's everybody that's ever owned a lawnmower and a truck and a trailer. Half of them don't have web pages.
Yep.
And so I started calling on those people. Now, this is easier if you're doing weed control and fertilization and you're calling on a bunch of mowing people, or vice versa if you're mowing and you start calling on the weed control people. But I just started calling them, and I said, hey, I'm Jason with Alabama Lawn Pros. I noticed you have a mowing business. I didn't know, do you have someone that you're sending your weed control customers to? And I was amazed at how many of them that were fairly established did not have anybody they were sent to, or they just said, we sent them to such and such big company because that's just who everybody uses, kind of thing. So I started using that to build relationships with them. I might say, hey, would you mind if I came and sprayed your yard for free? Would you want to go to breakfast one day? Would you, whatever I do through that? I mean, I probably have 10 or 12, consistent people now that refer me customers. And I haven't really tried that hard, to be honest with you, but it did pay off. And if I would have kept at it, I could have had a lot more. I just gave up and quit trying as hard to do that.
Well, you want to stay super local. You want to be hyper, like within a couple miles of your house.
Yeah.
So you have to. That's the only problem with mowing is in our area. We have a lot of neighborhoods and things, but we're pretty spread out. You have to, if you mow in here, you have to travel 10 to 15 miles if you want any type of real route. If you're going to be honest. It's doable. You can get in these neighborhoods. I've yet to see somebody who can, in our area, get in 1, 2, 3, 4 neighborhoods and stay in those neighborhoods. Yeah,
there's so much competition. It does make it hard. Even from the spraying standpoint, there's not nearly as many competitors. So in some ways, it's a lot easier. I mean, I probably, in our town, which is about 25,000 people, I probably have 150 accounts, which for mowing would be plenty. But for spraying, 150 accounts is a good week's worth of work, and then what you going to do the rest of the time. So sometimes you got to go a little wider and all that. But that's what I did. Try to build those relationships. I did it through Facebook. Now you can also be active in Facebook, like our city. They'll let you post as a business once a week on Mondays or something. So I get on there and say, hey, I'm Jason with Alabama Lawn Pros, and you get maybe some return from that. But for me, it was about building those relationships with people and then getting my website ranked, which happened fairly quickly in a not so competitive town, to where I get a lot of leads from that.
Yeah, I would say one more piece of advice on the Facebook thing is so that's a good thing, calling your people. Like if you're mowing, then get in touch with some good weed control and fertilization companies and get them to refer to you. But then if you're in these Facebook posts and you see these groups, then like I do not comment on those ones with 70 plus comments. I just don't do it. I'm not going to waste my time. I don't know. I say that, and I actually might retract that statement because here's my original piece of advice where I was going, and then I'll come back to that thought. Original piece of advice is direct message the person that made the post. I've picked up multiple clients this year by doing that, by reaching out to them, sending them a message. Really good clients too, like right down here in downtown of our city. Like a lot of eyes on the property, really good clients. And so I've direct messaged them, and I haven't commented on that page where there's 60 other people for them to go through and reach out to. The people that I've reached that I've gotten have said I was only like one of 1 or 2 people that actually messaged them, so that stuck out to them. So take the time, take the 30 seconds, write out a message, say who you are, you saw the post, you want to help them if in any way, tell them you can come out and give an estimate. Like, it takes 30 seconds, write the post, send the message. Sometimes they don't even view it, but then sometimes they do. I mean, and my customer acquisition was, 30 seconds of my time. Like, no cost involved. Facebook is free. And so that was a huge thing for me. Now, my second thought in that I said I don't comment, but now I'm kind of rethinking that because I was just telling you that we actually are putting in a bid right now on what will be our biggest landscape job we've ever done, and in the tens of thousands of dollars. And they said, and I asked them how they heard about me, it was she had been keeping up with those Facebook posts of people asking for stuff. She never asked. She never made a post. But she just got on a thread and started looking through the comments, and my name had been recommended from other people, and maybe I'd commented, maybe I hadn't, but other people had recommended me multiple times, and so she saved that. She literally took screenshots, and so because she knew this project was coming up. This was like a year ago, and she's kept on and held on to that information. So it might be worth throwing your name in there, commenting. Definitely get in some type of referral group, networking group that can send you, like, they can comment your name in there, because I know, like, around our area, a lot of other business owners do that. Like, they recommend me in those groups for mowing, and it looks good when there's 10, 12, 15 people putting your name in there. So I would say make a presence, take the time. Facebook is a very powerful thing. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, especially for the age group. And it's a lot of younger people that are on it now. But these older people that have a little bit more money than some of the younger people do, and they're getting to the age of retirement, they don't want to mow anymore, they don't want to spend the time, then I would say that's a free, like, literally 30 seconds of my time to send a message. So I would say that's a good piece of advice as well, is send that message. If you see it, then take action on it.
Yeah, I know I've seen your name recommended by people on those situations. I've actually done what you're talking about. I'll go search. I don't want to put a post on there because it's just annoying. All these people comment, but I'll go search for a keyword of something. If I'm looking for a plumber, I'll go search plumber.
That's right. Yep.
And I'll well, let me try this one. You know,
who's commented the most.
Yeah, it may be a 2-year-old post, but I'll go search back through it.
How did you? So was that? So you moved to this town you moved to was brand new for you. Like, you had moved from a couple hours away. You didn't really know anybody here, did you?
Well, I mean, my family's 35 minutes away, and my wife's family's in the area. I think my wife's about kin to half the people here. So,
yeah.
So I did pick, but you know how it is with family. Sometimes that can be the best or worst customers. You know,
that's right.
Some of the family does. You know, they like their yard, and they're like, we're not going with this guy. You know, until he proves himself a little bit. And so it was hit or miss. I did get some family members. Some family members, it took 4 or 5 years later, and they finally come over and switch to me. After I'd kind of proven myself, I guess, in their eyes. So,
what did you do to build your build your network? I mean, I guess you reached out to these mowing companies and things like that. Was there anything else you did that stuck out? Because that's brand recognition. Getting your brand out there in the community is key, especially when you're trying to be super route dense, when you're trying to stay close to home. These people within these core 3 to 5 miles from here need to know who Alabama Lawn Pros are.
Yeah. I don't know that I did anything. I think like the actual door knocking does work. Now, I'm not saying recommend. I remember one Saturday in the spring, because I thought that's when you're going to do it. Go on a Saturday in the spring. So I went out there, and this one neighbor, and I picked up 4 on one street. And at the time, that's amazing. Great. And I've seen this over and over again, where I'll get frustrated. I get a yard or whatever. I was like, well, I got 1 yard. And so now on this one street, not this street I picked up 4, but in that neighborhood that I picked up those 4 on, I mean, I may have 12 there now, so it's a great stop for me now. Where there's another neighborhood where I get 1, and I'm telling you, that guy's recommended me to so many people. I think literally on this one street, I got 8 out of 9 houses. Yeah. Now, when I get done spraying 8 out of 9 houses, they're on hills too. I'm so out of breath, but I have to think about how much money I made in that time it took me, and then I still wonder, was it worth it? But the point being, like, sometimes it's literally getting one house on a street. And I'm like, if I can just get in there, it just seems over time you get more. And I think especially with weed control and fertilization, I wouldn't say especially, because I think it's true with mowing, but like I think in some areas now, like the quality of your work does speak for itself. So
absolutely,
people that have money or not even a lot of money, but just kind of upper class people that are used to having things done for them. Like, they don't want to mess around with halfway kind of people. So like, if I think, and honestly, I've improved as a lawn care technician over time. So I want my yards. I've had to actually improve my program and try to upgrade products, fertilizers, and to be able to where I feel like, yes, I'm confident that my yards will compete with other people's, because I know at the end of the day they don't mind paying a little bit more, but they want it to look right.
No, they want it looking good. That's 100%, and that's the issue that we run into now. Is you hear competition is so great, like there's a bunch of competition out there, and you can call it competition if you want to, but if you're doing what you need to be doing, if you're doing the right quality work, the high quality work, then that competition is not going to be on the same level. Like they're going to be serving a different tier customer, and that's something that I would say when you get in these Facebook posts, like, be leery of those customers, those ones that are posting in there. Like, a lot of times it's I need somebody to cut my yard on Saturday at 2 p.m. and must provide a free estimate. Do not comment on that post. I'm sorry, but be able to vet your customers. Like, be able to vet. And I'm not saying people that ask for free estimates aren't good customers. Just be a little bit more leery. Try to vet them and figure out, are they going to be a good customer for you. So I would say that's some really solid advice on how to just kind of start the business, grow the customer basis, build the brand and into the company that you want. Because a lot of guys, that's what they're trying to do right now. And we're still in that process. We're still in the process of in this city that we're in now, like in Trussville, that we want to be the lawn care company that everyone refers to in here. And so there's a lot of other people around here, but we're trying to always be better with quality. We want to always have the best equipment, things like that, to be able to provide just the best work. And so I think that's something that's huge, is grow the customer list, build the brand, but don't forget, like, where you came from in the very beginning as well. Like, have you had to do that? Have you kind of looked back on these customers that were with you from the very start? Has that been hard as you've kind of shrunk your route? Have you had to let some outliers go that were in that original few, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I downsized a few years ago, and I basically tightened up my route big time when I downsized. But to your point, sometimes being loyal has a little bit of consequences. So, like,
you can't be too loyal.
Well, there's one lady that I wish I didn't do her yard anymore, but I was doing her yard, and she got me her neighbor, and the next neighbor too. I had 3 in a row. Well, then she moved out, which is probably 8 minutes outside of any other customer, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm
that
like,
adds up, though.
I don't want to drive 8 minutes to go spray a $42 yard. I mean, it's basically what it is. But I did anyway, because she's so nice, and she always tells me how great I am and all that. Well, and
build your self-esteem up a little bit.
Yeah, but
you need to put that one right after the one where you've been on the hill, the 8 on the hills in a row.
That's right.
So
well,
you can get back up to the top.
She moved. The neighbor beside her that she got me, I think she moved too, and then the neighbor beside that one fired me because we had a disagreement over what made his yard brown. He thought it was me, and I knew it wasn't me. And so anyway, I lost all 3 of those and got her out of the way, but I stuck with her. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a sense, and you could make this an argument a lot of things. For instance, I got this one lady that loves to come out and talk to me. And I was there yesterday or day before, I forget. And she goes out to check the mail. I'm thinking, maybe I can.
Don't make eye contact.
Maybe I can get by her this time. And then here she comes to check the mail, and I'm still working. And she sits down on the retaining wall, and I think, well, she's going to sit there until I'm done, And so I'm done, and she kind of stuff. And she's one of them. She's sweet as can be. Her husband died a couple years ago, but she talks to me about her family as if I know her family, and I practically do know her family now.
She calls them by name.
She calls them by name, and I have no idea who she's talking about.
No relation to you at all.
I was like, and she said, so-and-so come over there. I was like, who is that?
Is that your daughter? Is that your boyfriend? Like, who is that?
So she does that and tells me all what's going on, but I think in some sense I'm listening. I don't want to be rude to her, and so. It's just part of it.
I mean, it's part of adding value to your business, though.
Yeah.
Like, that lady's going to refer you a lot. And the problem that you do have to run into, and you will run into, and you have to think about is, even as sweet as that lady is, she doesn't have true loyalty to you.
Yeah.
If we're being honest at the end of the day. Like, I had a lady that I did it since I started the business, before I started the business. And she was one of those, she was on an outlier route. I was like, I'm going to keep her. She was a widow. It was a big property. Paid decent. But I didn't want to, we took care of her. Like, we were her people. Like, she didn't want anybody else on her lawn. And I was like, okay, she's loyal to me. Like she's gonna die. She'll be in the grave before she drops me as a customer, and I mean as a provider. And so I kept it. I just kept going. I was like, we'll make it happen. Well, sure enough, her son-in-law decided he was going to start doing it to help her out, and he wasn't even doing it near as good as we were. But son-in-law was going to do it, and so it's just like, and she canceled on us. She fired us, and she didn't fire us like, oh, you're terrible. You're like, I'm quitting on you. But it's just the principle of like, how many hours did I waste driving out there? The time, the gas involved. Because I wanted to be loyal to her, but she, at the end of the day, she's nice. We love her. We still have a good relationship, but she's not loyal to me. She's like, her keeping me as a contractor didn't really change the way her life went. And so she was going to save some money and let her son-in-law do it. Yeah. Even though he wasn't doing the quality that we were. And so, like, how much time and money did I lose on that? And so that's what you have to think about in those situations. Same as you. You went out for that lady, and then she moved, and it's like, well, my goodness, now what do we do?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I think sometimes you want to be nice to people. I'm like, well, you can only be nice as long as you're in business. Exactly. If you're so nice and you go bankrupt, you're not helping anyone. And some people, from a customer standpoint, I think you have to eventually discern, like, do they need help, and do I want to help them? I think, which is totally fine and commendable. Or do they have a couple million in the bank, and they will let me help them all they want, and they don't need. I need way more help than they do, kind of thing. And I think there's some of both, and it's hard to always distinguish. But some people, I remember one time these mowing people that would send me customers. They would say, "Now she can't pay no more than $60." The mowing guy would call me and tell me, "Now she can't pay no more than $60." I was like, I ain't even seen the yard yet, and you're telling her telling me the price of what it's going to be. And you go out there, and sure enough, can't pay no more than $60, and they pull up in a Lexus and all that, and they're the most complaining customer that you got.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, listen, I mean, I give you a deal, and now you're going to complain all the time, and eventually it's not worth it to me. And I think you have to just be okay with it. It definitely has to work both ways, unless you just say, hey, I'm doing well, and I want to do this person a favor. Yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with that, but most situations, and I would include family. I'm not saying I don't ever give a discount to family or friends or whatever.
That's tough. But you better be careful with that.
I'm saying you got to be careful. Yeah. And I mean, I've had family members that didn't pay their bill. Like, literally, we sitting together at Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm like, yeah, I don't bring it up, but I'm like, I still ain't got paid from 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, you're sitting right by me. I'm like, how? This year, I had my next door neighbor, not where I live now, my former, it still bothers me, my next door neighbor, and I helped him start a lawn business. He didn't have a great job. I helped him pick out a trailer, a mower, get going, send him customers. He mowed probably 3 or 4 years, and I think he quit, and I sprayed his yard last year, gave him a real cheap price. And, he paid 1 or 2 times, and then he didn't pay. And so I quit coming. I was like, whatever, I ain't going to chase it, but I quit coming. Well, he calls me up this year. It's probably been 7, 8 months since he's like, my yard looks worse than ever. I was like, I bet it does.
I ain't got anything.
I ain't been there in 7, 8 months and still ain't got paid.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I'm going to pay you. I've had some rough times. I'm going to pay you. It was $50. He said, I'm going to pay you $100 for the $50 I owe you. I said, hey, you don't. Sorry, he had a hard time. You don't have to do that. I said, let me come out there and spray it again to take care of them weeds, and then you pay me the $100. You don't have to give me double pay. Just let me spray it again. You give me $100, which is, I go spray it again. And he still didn't pay me. And now I said, now you didn't pay me. And now you call me back and say I've had a hard time. I sprayed again. And now you're going to straight ghost me on every text, everything. I texted him. I said, hey, I know you had a hard time, but to not pay your bill to your next door neighbor who helped you, I said, that's not very respectable. And I said, but no response. And I said, you know what, whatever.
He's not getting sprayed again. That's
no,
for sure.
I mean, he could give me $1,000. I say, but you're off the list. And I think that's the thing, as you get going, you have to. Yeah. I've gotten way more comfortable letting people go. This year, I let one go the other day in Carrington, right on the same route that I've got all these. That was a neighborhood, but I've got all these customers on the same route, and he's perfect route, but he's one I got to call him beforehand to unlock the gate. And then I go there one time. He said, "Oh, we're out of town, so I can't unlock the gate for you." Well, I got to go through a security gate just to get to him. And so I'm like, now I got to go all the way back in there just to go to you another day. And I'm not sure if he's out of town or not because there was a lot of cars in the driveway.
Yeah.
And so I go back, and that was fine. But then he used to prepay. Well, I kind of eased up on the prepaying, and then he didn't pay this last time. So I finally texted him, and he finally pays. And I texted him after that. I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to let you move on with another company." He texted me back, "God bless." You know, no hard feelings to me. I'm just like, it's just not working out. And
Yeah.
I'm not desperate for customers. And so I think eventually once you start getting a lot of customers, with customers comes headaches, and my motto is always, you be the one that's in control of the business.
That's right.
You know?
Don't let your customers
Don't let
control
them
you.
run the business because they're terrible at it.
They'll put you out of business.
Yeah,
That's
they'll
the
drive
thing.
you crazy. You'll be like, do I hate my business?
Yeah.
If you hate your business, probably the reason is you've got customers that are dominating you, and you got to take control back.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's almost a mic drop moment right there. We can, I think, honestly, wrap the show up. We're at 40 minutes now. I got to run and get Baby Jack from the in-laws. They're keeping him. Thanks to them for watching this afternoon while Savannah works. But it's been a productive day. Check out the Growing Green podcast YouTube channel. It's coming up. By the time this show airs, the YouTube video won't be out yet, but it'll be out in the next couple of days. Truck setup with Jason, talking about his weed control fertilization company. Jason, tell us where everybody can find you before we wrap this thing up, and give the 30-second, 1-minute rundown of the new conference, or the returning conference, the revival of the Lawn Care Life conference.
Yeah, my brand online is Lawn Care Life. I mostly do YouTube videos, so just search for Lawn Care Life on YouTube. LawnCareLife.com is my website. I have resources for like people wanting to get in weed control and fertilization. And yeah, I've done 3 Lawn Care Life conferences before. This one will be the 4th one. I wouldn't say annual because I sometimes skip a few years in between, but it's going to be February 23rd, 24th of 2024 near Birmingham, Alabama, a town called Springville. We got 300 tickets for sale, but there's a link at LawnCareLife.com. Jeremiah's planning to come. We got Paul Jameson, Naylor, Taliaferro, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut, and maybe some more. So we'll see.
It's going to be exciting times. It's going to be fun right before spring rush, get rejuvenated and ready to go. So, well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Jason, thanks for sitting down and talking for a little bit today.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it brought you some value. I know it actually brought you some value if you listened. Go back and listen to it again if you missed some stuff. Share it with your friends. Share it out there on the web and help bring people in here to the show so we can continue to grow the community one relationship at a time. Thank you to Brian with Entrepreneur Academy for sponsoring today's show. Without any further ado, that's going to wrap this episode up. We look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.